Alright guys, what's going on? I'm here to review some of my trades for the last week. Kind of like a weekly trade recap. The last time I made a video, I had gotten 2 payouts in a row on 2 accounts. I've since then blown those accounts, which I'm fine with. Ideally, I'd love to have kept them, of course. But one tilt day got me, and I blew those accounts. And luckily, we got 2 great payouts on them. And after I blew them, I took a few days off because I was sick, and I'm starting to feel a little better. Still not 100%. It's just some stomach issues. That's aside the point, though. But anyways, we got 2 combines. We copy traded them, and then I passed them, and then I've been trading these 2 XFAs, copy trading them. And these clips are really long, so they're very sped up. So you'll have to forgive me for that. I don't know if people like these longer clips or if they just want it trade by trade in a video or what. I'll have to experiment with things as time goes on. But I'm just going to go ahead and hop right into it. We got stopped out on the first trade. And right here, we're trying to go long at this support level on NQ, and there's also a trend line, and we got hit at break. That was a little under break even. It's also this trend line right there that's a long supporting trend line on the higher time frames, and it's that white line. And here I'm just desperate for just anything to pull through. This was a bad day. So this is full on tilt trading right now. This is Monday. This was my first day of my XFAs. We're already down. We've realized $879. We're negative $875 on the day. We're not following our strategy at this point. We're just, I mean, sort of, but sort of not. So, I mean, I see my strategy and where the trade should have been. I can see that right now. And I didn't follow it. Like I said, this is full-on tilt trading. We get hit at break even. We go long again for an even higher entry. So it's like, why? What are we doing now? This is pure emotional trading. Like the trade would have been like now, you know, because look, we just started to make those higher lows out of the trend line test. And you can look on the 1 minute, look at this volume bar, the big green one right next to the little red ones. That's where the volume actually came in here. And look, it supports this higher low here at the point of control. The MACD is crossed in your favor for the longs. So ideally, I should have just waited for a setup like this. And I mean, look, there's obviously buyers there, but there's obviously sellers because it just got rocked on its way up with that big wick. And you can see as it made that big wick, it made this big volume, which means there's a lot of sellers in there. And where my mouse is right now, the crosshairs, that is the line to beat. That is the price to beat, because you can look over to the right and you see the volume profile right there at 22,839.50. And look how it's got, that's the last volume node that's sticking out, where a lot of sell volume was conducted. There's a lot of, you can think of it as just a supply zone, like supply and demand, or just a resistance zone. That once we broken through there, we've sort of eaten up all the sell orders and there's no more sellers in the way, or it's just not really a desirable price for them. The same way, the inverse way for the longs, which is around where my entry is. So, you know, after taking an almost $1,000 loss, you know, we're up $700 right here. And, you know, looking back on this even looked like it was gonna, you know, possibly run up. But at this point, like I said, I'm full on tilt mode here. This is fully emotional trading. There's not much risk management. Look, I'm in full size at 2 contracts with a stop loss of $970, and a take profit up there of 2,680, which I knew I wasn't going to get that. I was just trying to get something out of this, and I could close it right now, and I'd be up on the day. And looking back, I probably should have. When I've taken a big loss like that, I just feel like I'm being greedy if I'm just trying to get more out of it and trying to get this big winner of making my daily goal of $1,000 a day and all that. In my opinion, in this situation, if you can take a small win, especially on Top Step, where you can take a $200, you can turn your minus $800 day into a plus $200 day. You can use that plus 200 towards your payout because you do need $200 or more for 5 days. So instead of just taking a loss right here, I should have just taken the $200 and moved on my way. And so one important thing to note here is you see that wick that just came in and the big volume spike. So that is good. That means that buyers are still there. Like I always say, you don't overcomplicate it. There was a buyer there that bought. And you can see the sellers are still in full force. I mean, look at that. And then there's a lot of buy volume there. There is a lot of buy volume there. Because you can see as it ticks up, and this is sped up a lot, as it ticks up, the candle, the volume candle goes down there, goes up really fast. And even though the candle is red and the volume stick is red, that doesn't mean that was all sell volume. Volume price analysis goes off of the candlestick pattern as well, because the candlestick will actually tell you a lot, and it's super underrated, and a lot of people think it's BS, and the way people read it is wrong most of the time. Like they just think, oh, because there was a doji right there, that was supposed to be a top or a bottom. It's not just that. It has to be in confluence with other things. It needs to be a doji candle at the top of a trend on high volume in confluence with the trend and other things as well, which you could argue, oh, I could have got those without the doji candle. It's just another layer of confluence. That's all it is. And that's a big part of my strategy is volume. And so you can see we got a push here. We get a nice push here. The volume isn't super high. Looking back, I'm like, man, why didn't you just take this off right here? You know, I mean, it's just when you're trading and you're in there, you think, oh, I can turn this around. I can turn this to a big win now. And, you know, the greed comes in and man, it's hard to talk anyone out of a tilted losing streak when they're in it. And they've, you know, at this point I was like, I don't even care about the accounts anymore and all that stuff. So I moved my trailing stop up and I was like, I can move it here. Yep, right there. So we took a small loss for Monday, $527, and we took another scalp that day, and then we ended up being down only $288. And again, this is sped up right here. And so we're taking, right there, you can see it. It's just a lower high short. And I like this entry. If you look to the left, you'll see these wicks down here that came down under my blue resistance line. This green wick here to the left, and there's a few other green and red wicks. And that's why I entered there. It's inside of a fair value gap on those wick tests. This is also a resistance level. The white line is a downtrend resistance line, and I don't necessarily trade trend lines. I just put it there as a reminder. Hey, remember you're in a downtrend. I think that's so underrated. The same thing with an uptrend. You can, yeah. Look at that. I had the uptrend on the left marked as well to just remind me. Hey, remember you're in an uptrend. Like on this one, hey, remember you're in a downtrend. You want to be looking for shorts here. Unless you're trying to do counter trend trades, which I do those. You just have to use enough leverage where you can make enough and then get out and have a tight stop. So look at that, we get a little push down here. You can see on the 5 minute that volume is starting to stack in. The 5 minute MACD is crossing in our favor. Look at this. Look at that wick. Look at this buy volume building. Look at all that buy volume that just built. And look, the buyers are stacking in here. They're stacking right in there. There's still some demand down there. That's how price moves. That's how I interpret price. Is for, and I'll go over my strategy someday. I would like to get more subscribers and then go over it. Because if I go over it and then get more subscribers, then people are going to want me to go over it. And we just have to make multiple videos, which we'll probably do. But of course, I'm going to make multiple videos on it. But we need, I just want a little bit more traction. Oh, and look at that. That was crazy, huh? Look at that. But essentially, the way I interpret price moving is like for right now, it's trying to go up. It doesn't need just only aggressive buyers, but it also needs the sellers to be out of the way. And I just added right there, which I don't really normally do, but we did. And this was a little bit crazy. But it doesn't only need aggressive buyers, but it also needs sellers to be out of the way. Because there can be plenty of buyers, but they need to eat up those sellers. They need to get the sell orders out of the way, sort of. And that's how I think of it. And that's where volume is created. And for the trend to be validated, you don't need just one big buyer. Because one big buyer would just give you one, rocket ship of a candle up or down. And then you want a buyer or other buyers to follow that person in for the trend to be validated. Ideally, you would want, a medium-sized candle to come in and then another medium-sized candle. And then that would just represent buyers are just consistently just tick, 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 tick. They're just eating it. They're just eating the sell orders all the way up, and they're willing to bid it higher and higher and higher and higher. And they just keep eating the sell orders. And that's how I interpret price. And I'll go over that more. And I use that along with the MACD, the volume profile on the right, support and resistance, and just the volume bars, and then looking at Nvidia and Apple. Right there, we got some news, and man, I'm so glad I didn't get stopped out. Gosh, and I'm over levered in this trade here. I'm over levered in it. Looking back on this trade, there's a possibility that I could have actually made more money with only one contract, because I'm in it at 2 contracts. I possibly could have made more money with one contract, and I'll explain why at the end. And with leverage, there's a good balance, and you have to find that balance that works for you. But you can see here we're getting that push down again, and right here, you can look, you can see that there's higher lows in the micro trend of it, but in the more midterm, it is a downtrend. So there's still some buyers there. The buyers are still bidding it, but the sellers are strengthening a little bit here. I think a lot of people were waiting for that news to come in. You can see what's it doing right now, even on like this 1 minute. It's creating lower highs still. I mean, it's just kind of consolidating. It's creating lower highs. This trade isn't invalidated until it breaks above that white slanted down line and closes a candle body through there with volume. And then the downtrend will be invalidated. So we start to come down here, and I just get ready because I'm tired of this thing. I'm tired, Grandpa. We take that off for a profit of $954 on the day. But eventually, price had just ran straight down. And I would have been able to hold that easier, is what I was going to say about my leverage. Instead of just taking it off right there, I would have been a lot more comfortable and been able to trail in with my stop. So you can see here, we're doing something crazy. We're shorting an uptrend. Who knows why? This was a very bullish day. I mean, look at that. Look at that. We're trying to do the same thing we did yesterday, pretty much. It's the same exact trade. It's right around that slanted down line, that down slanted line. It's right on that resistance, but it's making a bull flag. It's validated on volume that this is an uptrend. It's held all these volume profile levels to the right. If you look to the right, look at these volume bars that stick out on the right side of my screen. And look to the left where price is supported by those nodes each time. It has not made a lower low. It's not made a lower high. I don't know what I was doing. I was just trying to get a hero trade, as they call it, where you get the exact top, you short the exact top, or you long the exact bottom. I don't know. There's not much you can say. I mean, you just mess up sometimes. I mean, that's all that it is. And with how much leverage I trade with, I mean, you really got to be spot on. You really can't afford to make mistakes like this. Luckily, I did have I moved my stop in, like down a little to lose a little bit less. But who knows? I might drag that thing back up as price goes up towards it. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I mean, the important thing is when you, like, I was in this and I kind of, right here, I'm knowing that, this might not be the top. And you have to be willing to flip your bias. So if you are wrong, you got to flip the bias, sometimes immediately. Because it's not about being right. It's just about risk management and money, and sometimes you can be right on the trends, but still get stopped out, And right there, that's exactly where you would have wanted that to hold. And you can see I'm debating on just closing it for a small loss. But then there's that part of me in my brain that's like, well, what if now this is the top? What if now this is the top? But look, it's made another higher high and another higher low. It just consolidated. Yep. We'll go ahead and close it off for minus $312 on the day. And I mean, it just broke through that line on this volume. Look at that volume that just came in. That was big volume on the 30-second chart. And I use that 30-second chart for a reason, to look at the volume. I'll explain that someday. Volume comes in quicker on there. You can see, I mean, look how beautiful this price action was, and I missed it at the market open because I was trying to get a pullback, and I was waiting too much. I was hesitating, and that can screw you over just as much as jumping in too fast does. You can see, look at this nice put, dude. Look at that. That's perfect. Creates a nice fair value gap. It just broke through a support level or a resistance level. It's got the big volume. It's a nice body candle, no wicks. It goes right into a bullish hammer candle. And then right here I think, well, what if this is the top? I look to the left. What if it's the top now? If you look over at those highs, oh, look at that volume that just came in right there. That red volume. Oh no, the MACD is crossing down. Like, you'll think that in your head, but it hasn't created a lower high and it hasn't created a lower low. And until it indicates a change in trend, the trend is still valid. You can see there is some sellers here. You can tell by the volume there is some seller, but the buyers are just tick, 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 slowly, just slowly eating it. Just little by little. They're just absorbing all the sell orders. They're just barely getting everything. And the sellers are just, they just don't have enough ammo. Then right here, the trend line break. Oh no, what if this is it? You can look to the left. Look at that red candle, and right above where my stop is, that would be a low that you would want it to hold, or for it to break down above the previous high. But still, it's just having a little bit of trouble with this resistance line. If you look to the left, you'll see why. The stock market's been bullish all week, and I've seen bearish people saying it's the top and all these things, and I mean the stock market just broke its all-time high and it retested it and then kept going. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can do what you want, but for me, I think that's a good sign. And of course, stocks matter to trade futures. You know, a big part of how I trade this is based off of Nvidia and Apple. But look at this. We finally broke it. We broke that level. We got rid of the sellers. We got rid of the sellers that were there. There was a sell wall. We broke through it. The buyers are still here. They still got more ammo. And then look, the sellers are coming right back in. They're fighting back now. And look at that. That was pretty crazy, huh? Then you start thinking, oh man, I could have made more. Maybe I should get back in. No, lock it out, be done. I made $1,000 on that day. That was $1,000 twice in a row, with a $288 loss on one day. So we're taking this here. This is what we took today. And again, sorry for this long video and the rambling and stuff. These trades this week were just long, and I'll consolidate this better next time. So anyways, we create a fair value gap right there on our opening candle, big volume, MACD crossing in our favor. We got the test of the support, which I added into, so I'm in max position size. So this would have been the only trade I would have taken for this day. So I have a lot of conviction in this trade. I do play around with my take profit a little bit. Shouldn't have done that. It's okay though. We broke see right there, we break the 21 moving average on the 1 minute. That's that little blue line, which is it's a good sign. It's a great sign. We did get this little inverse hammer candle with volume. And you can see on the 1 minute, even though that it's green, the candle's green and there's a green volume, that's still some sell volume. So there were still some sellers there that were either shorting or taking profit. Either way, it comes down, the buyers, they eat it up. They just eat that thing up. And then I move my take profit down to my daily take profit goal, which is around $1,000. Here lately, it's ended up being like $950 because of fees and stuff and slippage. Just a little bit of slippage with Top Step X. Then we get that thing. So right here, I'm like, okay, that's close enough. We just took our $949 for the day. So after all that, we got a total P&L of $2,587 copy traded across 2 accounts, with our average winner of $540 and our average loser of $199. And a win rate of 53.85%, which that's pretty decent for me. I mean, that's about normal. I know this was a long video and then there was a lot of rambling, but no one posts live trades, and I want to post that. I want to make a market for that. And I hope everyone likes these videos, and I'll get better as time goes on, and I'll express things better through the video and so on. So we had our best trade of $1,284, our worst trade of $417. That's phenomenal, man. That's phenomenal. We had Monday where we lost $288 with 7 trades. lucky we got out with that. I'm gonna be honest. I was happy to take that $288 loss because look, I mean we're down, 680, 876, 881, and we made it up to 527, and then we took that little scalp off camera, and then ended up being at around $288. So then we made 954 on this day. What was it? 2 trades? It was 2 trades, but it was just 2 contracts on 1 trade. Right there we had a little loss and we brought it back, and then same thing here, 2 contracts, 1 trade, $1,000 a day. The goal, like I always say for myself, is to get 5 winning days, around $1,000 each, and then you take your payout. So you get around anywhere, my payouts are anywhere between $2,000 and $2,500. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, I know this was a little rambly, and so on, but as time goes on, I'll get better at making these. And I appreciate anyone who watched. I really do. Thank you. Hope you have a great day.